lawyers, and we're one of the National Trial Lawyers' top 25 most influential law firms. Compare us to other firms, then call Berg Simpson.
If you've been injured, call Berg Simpson for free now at 303-790-2525. BergSimpson.com. Good lawyers changing lives.
What makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination? Because they offer free battery testing and charging and reliable replacement batteries. And they've always got your battery solution. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports from your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
Back at it, Monday edition. Mike Rice, Dante Gomez. Oh, man. Back to the grind today, Dante. It's always a little bit tough on Mondays. Often a little bit tough. How was the weekend?
Oh, it was pretty good.
Yeah?
Pretty good. I mean, it was beautiful outside.
Oh
It's hard
my
not to have a
gosh.
good weekend when sunny and 70 basically all weekend.
Crazy.
How about yourself? Good weekend?
Yeah, it really was. It was pretty low-key. Those are good. Getting into the swing of baseball. And, yeah, weather was just crazy. I mean, we got trees budding, and it's like the beginning of March, end of February. Amazing. Oh, man.
You know who didn't have a good weekend?
Yeah, I do. do you want to spill the beans? Do you want
No.
go
I was
ahead?
just trying to create a natural segue for you.
No, I'm sighing because we're going to talk some Nuggets here to start. And I'm thinking back to last year. And I got Debbie Downer last year. I did. And we all know that the regular season kind of is what it is, and I don't think any of us try and put a whole lot of stock into it. You sort of take it as it comes, and when they're really good, you try and keep things in check, and when they struggle, the Nuggets, I'm saying, or any team really, you just sort of keep perspective. And I'm trying to keep some perspective because they've been struggling, Dante. They've been struggling in a big way. And as we look at the standings tonight, they are fifth, and they're a half game ahead of the Lakers, and they're a game out of third. So there's a log jam. And, after you get past the Thunder and the Spurs, there are 5 teams that are within 3.5 games of each other. Rockets, T-Wolves, Nuggets, Lakers, and Suns. And one of those teams, the way it stands now, will be in the play-in as the 7 seed. I just want to start, and the RamosLaw.com text line is open, 303-713-1043. Given that we know there's a perspective you have to have in the regular season, where does the level of concern / disappointment rank for you right now, based on how they're playing, what they're doing, just the way this recent stretch, and by recent stretch, I mean go back to even pre-All-Star break. They've been a pretty average basketball team for a chunk of time now. That's also been, as we know, hit by injuries. Well, where does all that rank for you?
The level of concern, for me, high. The disappointment, not as high. And I say that because there's nothing this team could have done during the regular season that we would have crowned them at the end of the regular season. This is a team that is championship or bust. If you go out and win 70 games, no one's going to care if you don't go out and win the NBA Finals. So that's where this organization and this team is in their championship window. So not as disappointed, but still very concerned as they head into the playoffs. And there's a chance that we're looking at them starting that series on the road. And I know they haven't been great at home this year, but I think you still would rather have as many home series as possible when you get to the NBA playoffs, have the easiest path possible, which includes trying to be the highest seed you can be as well. So definitely concerned as they head into the playoffs, as well as the injuries. I think the Aaron Gordon and Payton Watson injuries are very detrimental to what we've seen from this team, especially on the defensive end. This team's always going to be able to score. You have Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic on the same team. You're going to be able to score. Points won't be that big of an issue. But defensively, this team is just, outside of Bruce Brown, who gives a lot of effort, not a lot of defensive stoppers going with this team.
Oh my gosh, let's look for one. And again, I am truly trying to keep perspective because I do believe this is a very good basketball team, and the injuries have disrupted continuity from the start when Christian Brown got hurt early in the season, and not just hurt a little. I mean, that was a bad ankle injury that kept him out for a while, and that unfortunately set the tone in many respects. And yet this notion that, well, once AG and Watson come back, that's when it'll start. That's when everything will click in. And I hope that's the case. And I'm not saying it won't be the case. I think that's as talented as a group and as talented of individual players that they have, I think that's a tough ask, especially when you're in the midst of a very difficult portion of your schedule. And the games get magnified, the meaning gets magnified, the minutes are higher leverage and higher intensity minutes. 40 minutes in a game this part of the season is different than it is in November or even December. And Dante, this notion that once those two guys get back, okay, we'll have 18 games or 20 games or 12 games, whatever it is, and we'll round into playoff form. I hope that's the case. I'm not convinced that'll be the case. Are you?
No, I'm not. And I think if you could guarantee me that they come back and everybody's 100% healthy, I think there is some truth to that those guys would solve a lot of issues with what's going on with this team. But you're talking about two guys that have missed a big bulk of the season. One guy, Aaron Gordon, who's missed a bulk of last year, playoff games last year. Zach had the stat, which I can't believe this is real. Aaron Gordon hasn't played 16 straight games since the Denver Nuggets won the NBA title in 2023. So
yeah, that's crazy.
That's just one of those where you almost have to double take when you hear that. So I think if you're relying on that track record, that's not really something you want to be relying on. I think that's putting more faith into it than drawing from substance. And I just think that you're also asking those guys who are elite athletes. If you're in the NBA, you're a great athlete anyway, but those guys are a different tier of athlete, and that's what this team needs. They need defensive stoppers, and you're asking them to come in off of injury and just automatically be the best defenders on this team. I think you're asking a lot from them.
On the RamosLaw.com text line, the logjam in the standings is proof that there are no throwaway games. That's why those irritating losses to teams they should easily beat are so infuriating. I think there's truth to that, Dante, and this is a team, and the Thunder clearly wouldn't qualify as a team they should easily beat. But you go back to Friday night, I'm sitting there watching the game, and again, I usually don't get emotional during games. I was upset in the fourth quarter of that game. It was as if okay, they played really well, and I'm sort of holding my breath, crossing my fingers, thinking, are they going to be able to sustain this through four? And they couldn't. I mean, Cam Johnson can't hit a shot to save his life. And that's really been the pattern. I'd like to say right now, but and again, I'm not trying to heap all the blame on any one guy. They have just been unable to finish. They've been unable to come through when the chips are down, and it's frustrating because I think those of us who have watched this team, at least in the recent past, not only hope for so much more, but believe there's so much more there, and it's not bearing fruit. How much of that is it just because of the lack of continuity? How much does David Adelman and his staff, how much do they shoulder some of this? Is it just a combination of things? How do you see it?
It's definitely a combination of things. The Cam Johnson struggles are concerning to me. I thought he was going to step in here and
me too.
Be a better version of Michael Porter Jr. in terms of basketball IQ, shooting the ball should have been similar. Defensive effort, I thought Cam Johnson would be a step ahead of MPJ as well. None of that has really come to fruition. And I think a big part of that is the continuity, which you brought up. There's a lack of continuity, lack of chemistry, playing with each other throughout a season as a full starting five. I think at some points he might be, and this might be sound a little crazy, he might be too smart for what's good for himself when it comes to playing basketball, where he maybe overanalyzes his shot selection and when you play with a guy like Jokic, the best player in the world, or Jamal Murray, a all-world scorer on the offensive end, I think he has that self-awareness that those guys should be taking a lot of these shots. So I think there's at moments when he overanalyzes what he should be shooting, and I think that you can have some doubt. And that's what it looks like. He has a little bit of doubt when he's playing out there. And when you're playing basketball at the highest level, you can't have doubt. You have to think every single shot I take is going to go in. And it just feels like he doesn't have that kind of confidence with his game right now. So I think it's a lot of things that are leading to where the Nuggets are now.
Yeah, Brian checks in on the RamosLaw.com text line. We desperately need Gordon and Watson back. They both scored substantially more points than the number 4 and 5 starters for the Nuggets. Oh, they'll be in great shape with much better defense when they return later this month. Well, like others have said, there's going to be a part of me that watches AG play, and I hope there's a self-imposed minutes restriction, because just get tuned up enough to be ready for the playoffs. But I will be concerned about his injuries.
I think you should be. I think that's fair.
How can you not?
I think you're a little delusional if you're not concerned with the injuries.
And then, I hope Watson can pick up where he left off. And another question that came up on the RamosLaw.com text line is, will Adelman start Watson over Cam Johnson when Watson's healthy enough? Now, let's hope that decision is going to be made sooner than later, because that means Watson will be back. But at this point, it's about rounding into playoff form. And the fact of the matter is, Watson, when he got hurt, clearly was playing better than Cam Johnson has ever played this year, unfortunately. And I think that's a move. I'm not sure that David Adelman will make it, but I wouldn't mind seeing it at this point.
Yeah, to me, you have to start Watson. And to me, the conversation actually comes down to, is it Christian Brown that's starting or Cam Johnson that's starting at the 2? I think that's more of the discussion. I think if Payton Watson is the version that we saw of himself earlier this year in January, no questions. You have to start that guy. The length he provides defensively, on top of the ability that he had shooting the ball, which surprised a lot of people, I think it's a no-brainer that he has to be getting 34-plus minutes a game, and you're only going to be able to get that kind of opportunity if you are in the starting lineup.
303-713-1043 if you want to weigh in. We're talking Nuggets on Denver Sports tonight. That is the RamosLaw.com text line.
What about you? Is Payton Watson a starter for you no matter what?
You have to have him on the floor and at least give him a chance to see if he's going to be anywhere close to the offensive player that he was when he got hurt. And let's face it, Dante, anybody who puts any amount of effort into playing defense right now will be a major upgrade for the Nuggets. I'm not trying to pile on, truly, but we have to look at what we're seeing and say, is it up to snuff? And it's not even close. It just isn't. I had this thought when I was watching the Nuggets Thunder game on Friday night, and just trying to sort of, sometimes you're really into the game, and there were parts I was, and there were other parts I sort of tried to just sit back, take it in, all the rest. The Nuggets are, the feel I got was just is starting to feel a lot like it has in the couple of years after the championship, and that's not a good thing. And I obviously didn't get that sense the start of the season through the first few months, when even with some of the injuries, the record was spectacular. Nuggets were firing on many cylinders, if not all. But now it's, if Joker's a little bit off, there's really no answers. Jamal, the two-man game looks a lot like it has in recent years. The lack of defensive intensity and effort kind of falling back into that. The inability to hit an open shot from mid-range or beyond. And it just felt this growing angst and frustration. And I hope that they're able to work through it. I think they're a better team. I like the pieces better anyway, individually, than last year. But it's not happening right now. And is it just because AG's out? I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think that that the other guys could be winning some of these games, and they're just not able to right now. Is it an Adelman, Malone? There's a lot of different layers and reasons that could be contributing here.
And I'm happy you brought up Adelman Malone there. I have a question for you to return to that. Do you think the Nuggets are bringing the effort that is needed right now, or do you think they're coasting because it is, hey, let's just get to the playoffs and we'll figure it out then? Do you think there's a little bit of that mindset where they're not taking these games ultra seriously?
Yeah, ultimately, I don't know. And you've heard me say this before, unless guys openly talk about it or it's one of those open secrets, if you will, I always hesitate to say the effort isn't there because I don't honestly know. I mean, I can look and watch a game as you can, and we can say, well, that he didn't appear to be going as hard as he could be or whatever. But I will say this. If that's the attitude they're taking, then David Adelman has to nip that in the bud and do that about 4 or 5, 8 games ago. And
well, that was my follow-up question.
Yeah.
David Adelman, the guy that can do that, do you think he's able to lead this locker room to a place where they are giving that max effort on a night-to-night basis?
I don't know, and I think that's the big question. But this question is just as fair too, because we talk about Malone and his sort of, the grizzled veteran coach who wasn't afraid to speak his mind and call out his players. That that was, part of the reporting around before and even in the immediate aftermath of his ouster at the end of last year had that voice grown stale. And were guys just not responding to that anymore. So, ultimately, I do put a lot of it on the players. If you have to rely on a coach to motivate you at this level, when there's this kind of talent assembled and there's these kind of stakes in play, yeah, David Adelman and his staff have a role, but it has to start with the players. I've just always felt that. Now, can a coach influence the atmosphere? Yes. Do I think that automatically chewing guys when they don't play well or they're in a bad stretch, is that always the right way to go? No. Could it be a time to kind of tighten the screws a little bit in a way that's effective? I think that's the challenge David Adelman has right now.
Yeah, and I think Aaron Gordon would definitely help the issue.
No question.
Just because of the character that he has out there, he's not going to take it lightly whenever he's playing basketball. And I think that just builds to a whole theme throughout the locker room of it almost becomes their identity, is that they're going to play hard when Aaron Gordon is out there. So I think missing that does hurt, obviously. And I'm with you that there are a lot at stake right now. You ran through the Western Conference standings right now, and we're talking about a team that wouldn't be hosting game 1 of the first round. And these guys have championship hopes. You don't really see that a lot. So I think that they should realize that these games are important to them. They shouldn't be just coasting until they get to the playoffs and say, hey, as long as we're healthy, because you hear a lot of that around town. As long as they're healthy, I'm going to give them a chance. I think that's fair to have as a fan's point of view or someone from our point of view. But if you're in that locker room, and obviously you want to always have belief that you can win, but I think you still need to recognize the importance of trying to get the highest seed possible and host the first and hopefully second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, maybe thinking too far ahead, back to the RamosLaw.com text line from the 5307. But if the Nuggets get bounced out of the playoffs, would you consider moving on from Adelman and hiring? I will substitute. He said Mike Budenholzer. I don't know if I'd go that direction, but
I wouldn't do Budenholzer.
No, I wouldn't either. But I guess we'll have to see how it plays out if they don't win it all. And it's not even about winning it all, because I don't think the Nuggets are at the Thunder's level. I think they can win a series. I think it would be extremely difficult. I still think the Nuggets have, if they're whole, the pieces and the parts to go all the way. I do. The frustrating part is they're not sort of headed in that direction. They're not giving us many signs that that's the direction they're moving in. So am I here saying, or even saying to myself, hey, they're a bad basketball team? No, they've got Joker, they've got Murray, they've got a good core. And when AG and Watson come back, when those guys return, yeah, it should be even better. But I do expect more right now. I do, because we're looking at this through the possibility of a championship and taking advantage of Jokic's best years. And as of now, they're struggling in that department. Does that mean they're going to get bounced in the second round, say? Not necessarily, but it's hard to flip a switch, man. It's in the playoffs especially. It's hard. Okay, we're whole now. Now we're just going to go dominate.
I think especially in the Western Conference,
absolutely.
where it's a deeper conference for the last however long, decade, probably 2 decades, where there's upsets every single time. I think in the Eastern Conference, there was kind of this notion that when those Miami Heat teams or the Cleveland Cavalier teams with LeBron James, those teams kind of were flipping the switch, but they were able to ramp up in a way where they were playing good basketball by the time they got to the finals. I think this West is pretty loaded, where there's a chance you don't make it to the Western Conference Finals if you're the Nuggets. And you mentioned there that if the Nuggets were facing the Thunder in a 7-game series, the Nuggets still have a chance. And I agree with that. They do have a chance. But the clutch numbers that we've seen from this Nuggets team make me think that if they are facing the Nuggets in a Western Conference Finals, they are going to go 6 games in the first round, 6 or 7 games in the second round. And that's exactly what happened last year. They were pretty wore out by the time they got to that series against the Thunder. And you could see it. Obviously, Jokic looked pretty tired. Jamal looked pretty tired. AG doesn't finish the series with his injury. So I think it's important that this team is able to beat the lesser teams and do it in a way that minimizes how many games they have to play on their way to a championship. They went 16-4 on their way to their 2023 championship. It's a lot easier to do it when you're playing 20 games to win a championship than trying to go out and play 30 games on your way to a championship. That's how you get tired. And a team like this, where they've battled injuries throughout the year, those kind of injuries can creep back up. So I think there's a lot of concerns with this team, and their seeding is one of it. Their effort on defense is another part of it, and their injuries. I think all 3 of those are major concerns. And if you're not concerned with that, I think you're just blindly having faith in this team that they'll be able to get it done.
Well, and look at the schedule. Okay, at Utah tonight, but then Thursday, home to the Lakers, Friday, home to the Knicks, next Monday at OKC, then home to Houston, at San Antonio, at the Lakers, home to Philly, at Memphis, home to Toronto and Portland, at Phoenix. I mean, it. Luckily, they do close with 4 out of 6 at home, but then again, you think that should be an advantage, but it hasn't been, Dante. The home court has not been the friendly confines. Ball Arena has not been the advantage that you would think it would be. So, sure, there are warning signs. I'm not freaking out. I'm not panicking, but at the same time, I'm concerned. I'm more than mildly concerned, but I'm not at all freaking out, because I do want to see when these guys come back, meaning Watson and AG, and then how they reintegrate and what the product looks like as they head down the stretch against teams that are going to be challenges on many nights.
And is there a record or an amount of games that you need to see from the Nuggets going into the playoffs with those guys being healthy? With Aaron Gordon and Payton Watson being back in the lineup, like if they get inserted back into the starting lineup and the Nuggets are still around 500 while they're back, would that still be concerning to you, or would you be feeling okay about it because they were able to play the last 15, 20 games of the regular season?
Well, certainly, I mean, the more games they have together, the better. I wouldn't expect them to win all of them, but I want to see the effort. I want to see the competitive, the compete level, if you will. And yeah, I mean, you've got to win your fair share, because it goes back to what we talked about at the top, Dante. You're in a dogfight now. You're in a dogfight where, I mean, you think of a game, well, against Utah tonight. You got to have this game. You have to have this.
Utah's
game.
not even trying to win.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's what you have to have.
Yeah, or you look at Memphis on the schedule twice down the stretch, once at home, because those are games that you're counting on to win. But
I also want to see you do it against the better teams.
Well,
you mentioned the Knicks are on the schedule.
Yeah, the Knicks, the
or
Lakers,
even the Lakers,
times,
even a team like the Suns, who are probably going to be a playoff, not a higher seed, but they're going to be in the playoffs most likely. I want to see you do it against teams that are going to be in the playoffs. I can't just see it against the bad teams, because if you look at the Nuggets' record versus teams below 500, it's pretty good. But when you look at teams above 500, it's actually a losing record at the moment. So
it's
go
really
ahead.
a mixed bag. When you get to the month of April, the Nuggets will have 6 games left. We mentioned 4 at home, 2 on the road. These are the games in order to close out the final 6 games. At Utah, home to San Antonio, Portland, Memphis, OKC, and then at San Antonio. I mean, it's either a really good team or a dog. And those last 2 games, OKC at San Antonio, there could be some serious seeding on the line. I mean, as close, we went through it. You've got 5 teams within 3.5 games of each other right now, and there's still plenty to play, and there's plenty to play for. So it is.
And I'm assuming a lot of those teams aren't going to have as difficult as a schedule that the Nuggets are going to have. So they're going to have to actually play better basketball than a lot of the teams are in the same group as them here.
All right. Well, from the Nuggets to the Avs, what bodes for them? Are you optimistic or pessimistic? That's next.
After moving on from another defensive coordinator, are rough waters ahead for Coach Prime and the Buffs.
My true feelings as of right now, this is not good for CU. I don't think it's a positive outlook for what's coming at CU. And I'm being sincere here. This is not a promotion.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey, it's Mike Evans. Restore your bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning hair with the same simple one-day treatment I receive from Dr. Tanya Pauls of Advanced Hair. Your own natural hair begins regrowing the very next day, and your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. For your free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts, call 720-459-HAIR, advancedhair.com.
Jackson Hewitt handles your taxes and your stress. Inhale on no surprise price of $149 or less. Exhale, paying more for complicated taxes. You won't. Inhale, new tax law knowledge. Exhale, missing out on your biggest refund? Certainly not. Don't miss paying $149 or less. Rest easy. Jackson Hewitt's got your taxes. Guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to A to Z Savings, our biggest sale of the year.
Happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with Duralast rotors.
Free. Really?
Really? Free.
I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah. How much is that?
Free with the oil.
Free. Really?
Really? Free. It's part of A to Z Savings with hundreds of deals.
From A to free.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Ends March 9th. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jeff's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination, where Sammy, a local AutoZoner, tests his battery for free. Looks like he just needs a charge. And Sammy does that for free too. In no time at all, Jeff is back on the road, ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen
Wesley
report.
is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax. They know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
When our grandfather started Williams Jewelers in 1947 as a humble little neighborhood jewelry shop, he could not have imagined how big his dreams would grow. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Shayna Williams. Today, thanks to you, Williams Jewelers is not only one of America's largest fine jewelers,
We're Colorado's premier jeweler, with more of the world's top designers than any other store, including Roberto Coin, Marco Biccigo, Kwiat, Hearts on Fire, Mikimoto, and dozens more.
an entire diamond and bridal department with the latest engagement ring styles and wedding bands from Tacori, A. Jaffe, and Gabriel & Company.
Add to that our legendary Swiss watch collections and service center, and you have the only jeweler you'll ever need.
With over 30 jewelry professionals, master goldsmiths, and watchmakers to serve you at Williams Jewelers, you'll still always be treated just like our grandfather would.
Like family.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
The official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche.
Hi, I'm Terrell Davis, two-time world champion and Pro Football Hall of Famer. There is nothing more important than your health. That's why I made the smart move to invest in fitness equipment with Fitness Gallery. It's a game changer.
Score big to save 25% off all primetime functional trainers, home gyms, and racks. Work out on your schedule on the equipment you choose from the safety and comfort of your own home. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
Mike and Dante, Denver Sports Tonight on this Monday. Nuggets at Utah tonight. The Avs are on the road as well as they start a 3-game trip against the Kings. Then tomorrow night at Anaheim and then Friday at Dallas. The Avalanche beat Chicago 3-1 on Saturday. Back on Thursday, they lost to the Wild 5-2. They came back after the break and won at Utah last Wednesday, the 25th. Where do you stand on the Avs? I mean, it's easy. Let me put it this way. It's impossible not to go wide-eyed with all the power play and all those kind of numbers and the special teams, the shorthanded goals they're giving up and everything like that. But where do you stand on where this team is and what may happen this week with the trade deadline looming?
So I still think they're the best team in the league, and I think that they've shown that throughout the entirety of the regular season here. You can even go back for the last 5 years about how great they've been playing. So I'm still placing them at number 1 in the NHL. I think the historic nature of what we were seeing earlier in the year was maybe a little overblown, and they're not going to be one of the all-time great NHL teams, regardless if they go on to win a championship or not. And I think their gap of being the best team in the league is shrinking as time goes on. I think the Minnesota Wild are catching them a little bit here. If you look at the numbers since the new year, they've been on fire, especially when you compare it to what the Avalanche have been able to do. When you compare it to anybody, actually, the Wild have just been on a tear since New Year's. So I think that there's some legitimate competition for this Avalanche team come playoff time, but I'm still taking them over anybody else. I would take them versus the field at this point. I think they're still the best team, and they're the best team in the league, and they have yet to figure out the power play. So it's one of those where even if you can get to an average version of a power play, I don't know what could possibly stop these guys.
It's an interesting point you brought up about the historic start for the Avs, and you could say the same about the Nuggets. Maybe we got a little bit spoiled to the point when the Nuggets had the best start in their franchise history after whatever it was, 20-something games or more, and realistically, were they going to keep up that pace? Well, not with the injuries. And now with the Avalanche, 31-2-7 or whatever it was to start the year, were they going to realistically keep up that pace? We thought they could, but that's a heavy lift for sure. And when you look at where they are in the standings, just take the West right now. The Avs have 87 points, the Stars 81, the Wild 80. The Avs, a 6-point lead over Dallas with a game in hand over the Stars, 7 better than the Wild with 3 in hand over Mini. My point dovetails on what you just said, Dante. I have to check myself here a little bit. Yes, they've been dreadful on the power play. This is still a team with a cushion, not as big as it was, and plenty of talent, and I think a move or two that's still going to be made this week. I have to relax my standards from that start just a little bit. Not the standard of needing to make a run and needing to make a deep run and hopefully win the cup, but just in terms of all the numbers, all the be the best team ever, the most points in the history of the league, none of that matters. Start rounding into playoff shape and playoff form. That's what concerns me.
100%. And I think I'm ready to take that wagon label off of the Avalanche.
Ooh.
I think they're a really good team, arguably a great team. But like I said, I don't think they're going to be historically thought of as a team like that. And I think wagon is maybe a step too far for the version that we've been seeing of these guys, specifically the last 2 months of the year after that incredible start they had. So, again, like I said, I think they're really good, and I think they should be the favorites to go win the cup, but I don't think we're going to be talking about them in the history books necessarily. Maybe as a span of Avalanche years, if you include couple years prior to the cup up until now, especially if they're able to go out and win a second one, it'll be, oh yeah, remember how great those Avalanche teams were? But I don't think it's going to be like, oh yeah, the 2025, 2026 Avalanche, they were just unstoppable. I don't know if that's quite the label they're going to have. And you mentioned the trade deadline coming up. Do you think that there needs to be any moves, or so you're not as comfortable with the current construction of them, even given that they do have the cushion they do have for being the number 1 seed?
No, I want them to make a move. I want them to acquire a veteran center and get some depth there. And I love Hockey Guy on the RamosLaw.com text line from the 8928. How serious are the Kadri talks? That's the question. Yeah, I mean, and the guys on the drive were talking about it. I like Drew's thoughts. I mean, a lot of that is going to depend on the money Calgary can retain and those kind of things. And if it's not Nazem, then is there another guy the Avs can target that will help with the depth and help with the experience factor in the playoffs? Would I be okay if they didn't make a move? Maybe. But this is the year to go for it. I mean, it seems like the Avs are always in that position, but more so this year because of the start they had, and if they can hold on to that number 1 seed, you're going to have one less quality team the way the insane NHL playoffs are structured, which would be great for the Avs. So I expect a move this week, maybe 2. I don't know that. I mean, I don't expect a superstar per se, but they need to solidify, I think would be the word and the way I would put it.
I think it's a fair point of view to have on it. I think that, especially given the lack of wins in the last couple months here, going into the Olympic break and coming out of the Olympic break, I think that's a fair way of looking at it. I'm with you too. If they didn't make a move, I wouldn't be yelling at the top of my lungs like, how could you possibly not make a move? This is a title window. I think it's a title window regardless if you go out and make a move or not. But if they think there's a move out there to go out and get a center, a third line, a veteran center, go ahead and do it. But I'm not begging for this team to make moves because, like I said, I still think they're the best team in the league regardless of if they add to it. So I think it's kind of a win-win for them at this point. If they like the team they have and they think that they could just ride it out to a cup at this point, go for it. But if they feel in that building, and sometimes it is as much as you hear it a lot in baseball, come trade deadline time, it's the front office is sending a message to the locker room like, hey, we're ready to go for it. We're going all in right now. We're going to make a move or two to add to the bullpen. I think that could be very similar to what you see the Avalanche make a move for.
Right, and we saw it last year too before the deadline. Chris McFarland was very active in the moves he made. And I'm not talking about the Mikko trades and that. I'm talking about the other moves that he made, and it didn't work out because of the situation with the way things ended in the Stars series. I want to get to one other text from Hockey Guy on the RamosLaw.com text line. If the Avs get bounced in the first round, would you fire Bednar and hire Peter DeBoer?
I'm definitely firing Jared Bednar.
Yeah, I think if they're out in the first round, man, I think it's a tough sell. As much as I love Bedsy, I think that's a tough sell at that point to keep him. What would it be, 8 of 9 years you don't get out of the second round? I think now whether or not it's DeBoer, who knows? That would be the way the Avs. I mean, Bedsy's been there for a while. That hasn't always been the route that they've gone. Hasn't been the route the Nuggets have gone either. Quite honestly, going out and hire that veteran coach, kind of like the Broncos did, or DeBoer, if that's the name. But the fact is they've got to do better than that kind of exit. I like this too, and this team didn't clear all the Girard money to do nothing. I mean, they did that for a reason. They were desperate to clear that money to the point where they gave up a second-round pick to do it, and I agree with that point. I think at that juncture, there's something else coming this week.
I will say, to contradict that a little bit, it is an expiring contract for the one that was sent back and the player returned here, so they could be gearing up to make a move in the offseason as well.
Could be,
but no, I'm with you. More than likely, it is to make another move before the deadline.
But you're still saving money right now and clearing space for pre-deadline, and if you want to do something. Look, I'm concerned about the Avs from the standpoint of the power play, but I go back to what you said, Dante, and I think it's a really good point. I have to believe that they are going to creep towards mediocrity on the power play. And if they just get close to mediocre on that unit and everything else remains equal, or they make a move to hopefully better themselves, then where's the limit? So how can they get any worse? The power play. It's maddening. Maddening, I tell you. Broncos at the Combine. An NFL move. Does that affect them? Major move for a running back around the league. And where do the Broncos stand as free agency starts next week? That's next on Denver Sports Tonight.
There are people who are excited about the new play caller for the Denver Broncos. And then there's Mike Evans.
Sean Payton is out of the way. Right. And now Davis Webb. We've got our next Sean McVay. Our new Sean McVay is here. And this is going to be a top 5 scoring offense next year. I can't wait. I mean, it should be, right?
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey, guys.
Jacob's Law with another cool story to share. James called 303-LAW-4040, and he's like a lot of our clients, not looking to get rich, but he just didn't want to get stuck with a bunch of medical bills. So we met with James like we do all of our 303-LAW-4040 clients in person, and it's a good thing we did because we noticed James did not look so good. We sent him to the hospital to get checked out, and they did wind up admitting him. In the end, we got him feeling better and $125,000. He was over the moon. He came into the office to pick up his check and rang that victory bell. And the really cool part is James surprised us with a check of his own, a donation so we could keep the best free meal in Denver coming each and every first and third Thursday. If you've been injured, you may be like James, not looking to get rich, but not sure what to do. That's why we're here to help. Just give us a call at 303-LAW-4040. Go ahead, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. That's 303-LAW-4040.
Most people don't think about their garage door until it stops working. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Don's Garage Door Service. A noisy garage door is a cry for help. Most repairs are simple, but if left untreated, they can turn into costly repairs. Your garage door works hard every day, and a little maintenance goes a long way. We fix garage doors fast with quality parts designed to last a lifetime. There's never a good time for your garage door to break, whether you're rushing to work or you're trying to get the kids to school. We know how much you rely on your garage door. That's why we offer same-day repairs, because life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Over 90,000 five-star reviews don't happen by accident. They happen by putting people first. Fixing your garage door is what we do, but making your life easier and your home safer is why we do it. Families trust us because we deliver, and we'd be honored to earn your trust too. From repairs to upgrades, call Don's Garage Door Service today.
Between groceries, travel, and higher prices, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're already relying on credit cards to cover the basics. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. If you're a homeowner, you might have considered reaching out to American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. That's why American Financing created the Smart Equity Loan, a simple, smart way to get your finances back on track without giving up your low mortgage rate. Unlike a HELOC, which can fluctuate with the market, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate, so you'll have one predictable monthly payment. It lets you use your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt, free up your cash flow, and still keep your existing mortgage intact. There are no upfront fees to find out how much you can save. Call 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or play stop, opt out. Terms and conditions apply to the earnings promotion.
Do you have caregiving experience as a parent, teacher, nanny, coach, or in another similar role? Hop Skip Drive is looking for experienced caregivers who want to help students in their community by driving them to and from school. Earn up to $50 per ride with Hop Skip Drive's welcome promotion, all while helping your community. If you have your own vehicle that is no more than 10 years old, a clean driving record, and at least 5 years of caregiving experience, you could become a Hop Skip Drive care driver. Just text ROAD to 323232 to get started right now. Hop Skip Drive gives you the flexibility to set your own schedule and earn competitive pay. It's simple. Drive in your free time and make a real difference for students right in your neighborhood. Don't wait. Text ROAD to 323232 right now. Text ROAD to 323232 and start earning up to $50 per ride during Hop Skip Drive's welcome promotion period. That's ROAD to 323232. Text ROAD to 323232 now.
Stream Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, Dover and Cecil, The Drive, and all your favorite shows on the Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan app. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
Mike and Dante wrapping it up, heading towards the finish line on this Monday night. Glad you are with us on Denver Sports Tonight. 303-713-1043. That's the RamosLaw.com text line as we close out the show, talking a little Broncos, wrapping up the combine, getting ready already for free agency. Tampering starts early next week, which is just a joke. I mean, the free agency portion isn't a joke. The tampering part's a joke.
Oh, I kind of like the tampering period.
Do you?
I do. I think it was always funny when there wasn't a tampering period and a minute into free agency. X and Y have come to an agreement on a contract, even though free agency technically started a minute ago. I think it's nice that there's a little bit of time where these teams and players can come to an agreement prior to actual free agency starting.
But just say that it starts and you can start talking. I mean,
yeah, but then the tampering's just going to move up before that.
Well, no, just say this is when you can start. I mean, all they're saying now is, I mean, you don't think any of the talking is starting before the tampering starts?
Well, it probably still is, but I think you need to have a window of time when you're allowed to talk without actually technically signing contract. If not, then the tampering just is going to keep creeping up and up and up.
That's true. And I think it already is, actually.
It probably is.
It probably is. I liked Mace's piece on DenverSports.com. He was talking about 3 running backs that the Broncos interviewed. Nebraska's Emmett Johnson, Notre Dame's Jadarian Price, Washington running back Jonah Coleman. And they all spoke about the emphasis that the Broncos talked to them about blocking and pass protection. Now, when you're picking 30th, and I don't see the Broncos moving up markedly in the first round, I do think they'll shift a little bit, but I don't think they're going to move up to 15 or anything drastic like that. If there's a player they like, I could see them moving up 5 or 6 spots potentially in the first round. I don't think they're going to give away a ton of their draft capital. They've been known, Dante, to really move around in the draft more in the middle type rounds. Day 2, they did it with Troy Franklin, things like that. So I thought it was interesting that these guys talked about pass protection. And does that at all speak to you about what the Broncos might be thinking in the draft about the running back position?
I think it does. I think it means that they obviously want a well-rounded running back. That typically a running back, the most difficult transition for them from college football to the NFL is pass blocking. So if they are drafting a running back, obviously they want this guy to be ready to go rookie year. They don't want a developmental project for this for these players. So, and you mentioned a guy like Price out of Notre Dame.
Yeah,
that guy's supposed to be a first-round draft pick. So that means they're going to potentially put a pretty high level of importance on their first-round draft pick if it is a running back at that point. So I think that it would be an interesting move by the team to go to ultra young at running back, because then at that point you're probably looking at a room of a rookie and a second-year guy like R.J. Harvey with maybe a Bidet as the third string, or McLaughlin potentially as a third-string guy. So I think that it would be interesting if they went ultra young at running back. Not what I want to see. I would rather you address it in free agency than the first round of the draft. But I like that they're at least putting an importance on running back, however they are looking to acquire their next running back.
We'll talk in depth on Friday about what we think the Broncos will do in free agency. I actually think they're going to address the position in both phases, free agency and also the draft. I don't know about the first round. I'd be a little surprised if they drafted a running back in the first round.
I think I would be surprised, but I think it would be kind of interesting. Sure. It would be fun for our job, at least.
No doubt.
A fun offseason of, how are they going to use this first-round running back along with R.J. Harvey?
And if they sign a veteran.
And if they sign one, too. I think at that point you could load up on the running back room, which I don't think anybody would be complaining about here in Broncos country. If anything, it's been the opposite, where they've neglected the running back position for the last handful of years.
Yeah, I do see them signing a veteran running back. Personally, I hope it's Rico Dowdle. He's number one on my list because I don't think Breece Hall is going to be available.
What about professionally? What would you like to see there? Sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. I would like to see that professionally as well, because I think he is a pro, and I think he's a beast, and I think Breece Hall is going to get the tag, and I think ETN is too expensive, and I think Kenneth Walker's too expensive, and he has had some injury history that I just don't think that's the kind of move the Broncos will make to sign one of the. I'd love to see him sign Breece Hall and just pay the guy, but I think Dowdle for the value would be terrific. I know Tyler Algier is getting a lot of attention. Brian Robinson's name has come up. But I do think they're going to go veteran, and I do think they're going to get a young running back in the draft. Did anything come out of the combine where you went, oh, well, maybe that's something I hadn't considered? Nothing really popped for me in a major way.
Not as far as the Broncos go. I think
right.
Once you're picking at 30, I don't think anything's really going to come out from the combine that's like, oh, well, that could be helpful for the Broncos. I think if you're picking in the top 10, the draft was a little interesting. You see Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame, he was flying in his 40. I think there's a chance he ends up being a top 5 pick now. Some of those Ohio State linebackers, they were flying in their 40 as well, showing off the speed. So I think the combine, there was more pop if you're a top 10 picking team, but luckily here in Denver, the Broncos are not picking top 10, so I don't think it impacted me too much.
Are you at all disappointed that the Broncos didn't make a trade for, say, David Montgomery, who goes to the Texans today?
I think that would have been a fine move to make if I was them. It feels like they're going to address it in free agency since they weren't involved in that trade there, but I think that would have been a move that could have been instead of going out and getting the Rico Dowdle in free agency or the Travis Etienne in free agency. I think now at this point they have to go out and get one of, not those guys specifically, but a running back in free agency, though.
Yeah, I do too. And I think the Broncos value their draft capital. We heard them talk, I think it was before last year when George Payton and Sean Payton talked a lot about flexibility on draft day, and I think they like that. And I think they're reluctant to give up picks before that. At least that's been the recent history.
Do you think they pick at 30?
I could see them moving up a few spots to target somebody.
I could weirdly, and I hope, maybe not hope, but I could see a scenario they move back.
I could see that too.
I feel like that's been the George Payton way, is moving back, getting some more picks, or maybe gaining a pick for next year, something like that.
I could also see him picking an offensive lineman right there at the end of the first round. It's going to be fun. Going to be a lot of fun. Dante, thank you. It was fun tonight.
It was fun. See you on Friday.
He's Dante Gomez, Mike Rice. Thanks for joining us. Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Tune into The Rundown with Richie Carney every weekday at noon on YouTube, Facebook, or X. Presented in part by The Birdie Bar, Louisville's premier indoor golf bar experience. Check out this week's live music, trivia, and other fantastic events at thebirdie.bar on the web and Instagram. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
When the Nuggets are knocking down threes, you score too. If Denver hits 15 or more three-pointers, you score a free 28-ounce Gatorade Lower Sugar the very next day at your friendly King Soopers. Gatorade Lower Sugar is scientifically formulated with Gatorade's #1 proven electrolyte blend and has 75% less sugar than Gatorade Thirst Quencher and no artificial flavors, sweeteners, or colors. Big shots deserve next-level hydration. Only at King Soopers.
You live in Colorado, you love those mountain views. Well, you want to maximize your window space, your glass space, and you could do that with custom windows. WindowNation.com. WindowNation.com, they're there for you with over 1,500 styles and colors to choose from. And in March, the more you buy, the more you could save. Up to 50% off all window styles right now at WindowNation.com. You can go out there, get your windows done, and enjoy that beautiful Colorado scenery. It's WindowNation.com. Visit WindowNation.com for your free consultation today.
Low testosterone can be a real problem for many men. It causes poor sleep patterns, decreased energy, low sex drive, and it makes it really hard to stay in shape. And as we all know, a healthy body is very important to our overall health and well-being. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if some or all of these symptoms sound like you, we can likely help you be done with low T. We can also help you lose weight, support your metabolism, improve your gains in the gym, and more with our new targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more. Our low T protocols, applied in conjunction with our body composition plans, will help most men see real improvements, true weight loss, higher energy, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and a renewed sex drive as well. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
The AutoNation flash sale has been extended. It's your last chance. Drive with 0 down plus 0 payments till June. Save on thousands of new cars and trucks, all your favorite makes and models. 0 down plus 0 payments till June. We'll even buy your car and pay you top dollar on the spot. The AutoNation flash sale has been extended through March 3rd, only at your nearest AutoNation.
Appraisal subject to verification. 60-month max term financing on approved credit. Interest accrues from date of purchase. See store for details.
Thinking about upgrading your home's HVAC? Then Day and Night Mechanical Solutions of Denver can help and save you money. You may qualify for up to $20,000 in rebates through the Colorado HERE program and Excel Energy for energy-efficient heat pump systems. Day and Night Mechanical has the inside track on this program and will guide you through every step. Upgrade your HVAC and save big bucks. Visit dnmech.com. Act now while the offer lasts. Day and Night Mechanical Solutions. They fix it right, day and night.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach your friendly live agent. Donation's super easy and your car can be picked up by tomorrow. Call now or go to carsforkids.org.
1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
The right financial strategies can make a huge difference, especially if you're nearing retirement. At a moment,